Okay, we have threaded our machine. We have tensioned our bobbin tension so that that's our foundation. We know that that's correct. Now it's time to tension the top thread. We want to make sure that it's threaded correctly. Check that path again. We want to make sure that it's tensioned in the tension discs. And when I pull my thread right here, if it's not tensioned in those tension discs, it would just go really easy. Really easy. And I'm pulling this hard, so it is tensioned in the tension disc because I can feel some tension as I pull this. So we know that's correct, but is it correct? Are they balanced so that I'm going to get that perfect stitch? Well, one thing I have on the machine, on my display, is I have an easy set tension number. Now, your machine may be different than if your friend has the same machine. You set your tension maybe just a little bit different, and depending on your threads. If you're using a 60 weight thread, it's going to be a smaller number than if you're using a heavier thread, such as a 40 weight thread. So remember that. The finer the thread, the smaller the number, which means less tension, okay? The heavier the thread, you can add more tension to that. So right now, what I want to do is I actually want to test this thread, and let's make sure that everything is running smoothly through here. I want to test this thread and just do a few stitches, and the circles and loops are the best way to test. So as I start stitching, going to clip my thread out of the way so we don't get that tangled up. I have this in manual mode right now, but I want you to look at something. What you're seeing right here, you're seeing loops. Do you see that? That tells me my top thread is not tensioned correctly. My bobbin thread is, because I set that, but I'm going to look down underneath and look at the loops that you're seeing. That's my top thread. That's like just sinking down. He's not working hard enough. We need to put a little muscle into that top thread. So let's go ahead. Now remember, on our bobbin tension we did just a tick, tick, tick type of a tension. This one I'm going to actually do a half a turn or maybe a full turn. So if I have my finger on the top and I turn this, and I'm going to turn it till it goes to the top again. So that tightened it to the right, tightened it, and now I'm going to stitch some more. Okay, I'm not seeing the loops on the top. Let's see how things are going to look underneath. Okay, this is where I stitched. That's looking better, but it's still laying flat. And I can kind of run my fingernail on it. It's still running flat. So I think I'm just about there. Maybe if I did a half a turn to tighten it, a half a turn. So now we're starting to fine tune it. Come back over here so we can see this. Oh, look at that. Now I've made quite long stitches. That's the advantage of this Insight Stitch say that again. Insight Stitch Regulation. It is so awesome because it's going to give me the correct stitch length. But right now, look at that. Look how good that looks. See, each individual stitch is sinking into the fabric, which means the top thread is pulling the bobbin thread up into the fabric. And as we look at it here, you can see each individual stitch here is being pulled down from the bobbin. They're pulling together, which is a balanced tension. Do you like that? That looks really pretty. Okay, so now I want to show you, I'm going to actually tighten it too tight. So if we turn this, a few turns, just so you know, I checked my number and it was around 450. I'm up to 500. What did we start at? It was about 280. So we've really moved up with this thread. And this is about a 40 or 50 weight thread. So I'm going to see what it does if I tension it too tight. Now I want you to look at that. First, let's look at the back. Oh yeah, it looks really good because it's really being pulled up. But do you see the top? The top is laying flat. I'm not seeing the individual stitches. See how flat it is? So that tells me that top is working too hard. He's being a bully. He's working too hard. Let's loosen him up. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen that back down to about 460, and we'll see how that works. Come over here. Go back. I'm seeing again, I can see now the individual stitches, and I can see the individual stitches on the back. So now I have a balanced tension. So what is my number? Right now with this thread, it's 460. So I'm going to actually have a little notebook, and I'm going to write that down, that this thread with this bobbin thread set tension, the bobbin's tension set properly, is 460. So then when I go to another quilt and want to use this thread again, I can actually put that thread on, go to 460, and the number changes in increments of 5. So if it's 465 or 455, I'm at least in that ballpark, and it may change a little bit the next time, but it's still, that's my ballpark area for that thread. So then when I have, say, a 50 weight or a 60 weight or a 100 weight thread, I know my number is going to be down maybe into the 200s. But I know as I write that down, I can follow that guide. Every thread I use, I'll follow my guide, and then I might make my little tiny adjustments before I start quilting. So I have perfect tension every time.